Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now at Insight Mental Health and Wellness. We can help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We'll help you use your insurance to get away from it all to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment so you can recharge yourself. And with a Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. That's 800-419-0287.
Everybody, welcome to Tee It Up with David Tees here on a Saturday morning. A little bit of warm, windy morning here at Studio 14, downtown Elgin. We're here on WRMN 1410 AM. We're going to talk a little weather here first before we get started. We have a special guest in the studios today. But right now, temperature is 57 degrees. The real feel is 55. Our temperature today is going up to 58, so we're not going to see much of a difference, but they're actually saying a passing shower this morning. Otherwise cloudy, windy, and warm. The low tonight will be 31 degrees. Clear with partly cloudy and colder. Remember to set your clocks ahead an hour before you go to bed because, yeah, it's daylight savings time, and we all lose an hour of sleep. So that's going to be fun for me on Monday morning for the morning show. And then tomorrow we're going to be partly sunny at a high of 62. Monday, sunny and a high of 69. 63 on Tuesday, and then we go right back into the cooler weather. So those are a couple of golf days, but the courses may be a little sloppy and messy because of all the rain we had. So today here on Tee It Up with David Tees, we have a special guest, and I met this guy a couple times already. I met his brother, and we're going to get this all set up as soon as I transition it over. Hello, Mr. Ken Hundley. How you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing good, man.
Whoop, let me turn your microphone up there. I do that sometimes. I forget. Ken, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
I know it was short notice.
Yeah.
But ever since I got to know you, you're an amazing guy. You're really energetic. You get out there. So if anybody wants to know who Ken Hundley is, Ken Hundley, will you tell everybody a little bit of history about you, because this is a different show. You were on Dino's show.
Yep.
A few times with me, so this is a little different show. A little bit of history for everybody.
I grew up in Southern Virginia. Randy Hundley's my brother. Played for the Cubs for about 10 years. I've had a crazy life. I am, and it's taken me until this period of time before I could actually look back at my life and understand why all this crazy stuff happened. So when you're crazy, you make crazy decisions about things, and they oftentimes get you in trouble. So I was born in Southern Virginia in 1949. I just turned 77, by the way.
Okay.
And my mom's 103. We just talked about this. We've got some good genes.
Yeah.
So we don't age like regular people. Part of my brain is still 18 years old. I like that. I want to keep it that way. Mm-hmm. That's the stupid part of me.
Nothing wrong with it.
That's the crazy kid, So I've got some genetic gifts that I had nothing to do with. Mm-hmm. First of all, I grew up across the street from a 3,500-acre land grant from the King of England in Southern Virginia. So that was my playground. I was always outside. I'm ADD, so most children with ADD, if they don't put their energy into something productive, they end up in jail. Mm-hmm. That's all there is to it. You're not genetically disposed to do crazy stuff, but when you have no fear about doing things, you will do things that you shouldn't do. And that can get you in trouble. It can help. It will also bring you to new innovations and stuff, but it can also kill you at the same time.
Right.
So I was fearless, curious, and I started life off just being that way and being a very energetic, not overly hyper, like being disrupting class and stuff like that. Dumb as the cotton in high school. They let me out of school.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't actually a dumb person, but nobody in those days knew how to find what you got going on with you.
Right.
So I barely got out of high school. Somebody made up some grades to get me in college, and I flunked out of that in the first year. Then 3 years later, I played 1 year minor league ball for the Cubs in 1970, and I was worried about if I was actually dumb. So I bought a Corvette. My dad bought a Corvette for me, and I had that for a little while. And once I played ball, I need to find out if I'm stupid. I sold the Corvette, used that money to go back to college. My first semester in college, my grade point was 3.4.
Wow.
So there was a transition that happened there, and I didn't know what that was until decades and decades later. So once I was 21, I got out of my hometown of Martinsville, Virginia. I moved to Key West, Florida. Jimmy Buffett was my neighbor. We had the same landlord.
Nice.
I would see Jimmy about every month. I would see him at 11 o'clock in the morning, David, and he was already in Margaritaville.
Wow.
I never saw him in a bar. I always saw him on the street somewhere, and eventually, a couple years later, I ran into him in San Francisco. He's playing a gig in San Francisco, and a friend of mine, who also lived in Key West, she was from London. She says, "Ken, Buffett's in town. You want to go see him?" I said, "Yeah." "You got a ticket?" "Yeah." So we go backstage. She embraced Jimmy, and she said, "Jimmy, do you remember Ken?" I said, "Jimmy, our landlord's the same. I live, Oh, yeah. I got you." So I asked him, I said, "How you doing, man?" He said, I said, "What? You're touring, you're selling, what could be wrong?" He says, "I spent 25 grand on..."
Oh.
I said, and I didn't know what to say. I said, "Oh, okay. Good luck with it."
Yeah. Okay.
And you know what? This was still in the 70s, and this was a time that people were dying from, if you're a rock star, drugs was your gasoline. That's how you got going. And it just something everybody did. So he survived that. I think he got married to the second woman who got him straight, and somebody decided, let's make some money off this guy. And they turned him into a billionaire. Yeah. Not his doing. Someone who saw his potential and decided, we're going to do this. We're going to make a lot more money than he is, but we're going to set up the Margaritaville brand. Wow. So yeah, she's from Key West. I have lived in 20 different cities in this country. So about every 2 years, I get that itch. Oh, okay, this is not fun anymore. I'm not finding the women I need to find. Let's get out of here. And I just wake up one day and say, okay, time to go. And in a week, I'd be gone. Yeah. So impulsive, curious, fearless. I had some tools that I didn't know what to do with. So if you don't take a child and expose them to a lot of different stuff, you don't know what that kid's good at. And that's the same for everybody. Now, what did you do most of your life?
Played with Matchbox cars.
No. What would you do for a living?
Plumbing. I'm a plumber.
Oh, you're a plumber.
Yeah.
All right, so when did you know that you wanted to be a plumber? What happened that made you think I can do this?
My dad told me I was too dumb and I'm going to go be a plumber.
He just forced you, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you know what? That works too. Sometimes people have to push you out of your comfort zone to get you to find something you're good at.
Exactly.
So you're lucky that think about this. If you didn't like that plumbing, you probably would have got out of the house for yourself.
Right. I wanted to, actually, my dream was to be a musician. I played bass in bands and all that stuff. But, he's like, that ain't making money. You got to make money. And just grabbed me and threw me in the back of the van and said, you're going to go do plumbing.
So did you quit playing music when you were a plumber?
No, I was still doing it. But then I quit when I lost a dear good friend of mine. Oh, yeah. And I quit playing.
A musician friend?
Yeah. We were,
that'll do it.
close friends and all that stuff.
So I accidentally became a musician also. I ran into a friend of mine in Virginia. I lived in Canada for about 6 months, and I bought some guitars. I was trying to learn to play. Run into a friend of mine in Virginia who had been to music school. We started playing, and immediately I started writing music, very unusual. I had a skill set that allowed me to, I call that skill set Albert, like as in Einstein, because he's the one who invents all the stuff that I do.
Right.
I'm the guy who will screw it up. I'll stick my finger in a socket just to see what happens.
Me here.
And Albert is the one who's keeping me alive.
So one of the reasons, sorry, I'm a little congested today. One of the reasons why he's on here, and we're not talking his life story, we're going to talk some golf stuff because, Ken, you have created a couple of different workout machines. And one of the machines is a golf workout machine. You have a website called The Long Ball Trainer, the cutting edge swing trainer and golf training aid.
It's just the website is longballtrainer.com.
Yeah, longballtrainer.com. I'll be putting that up over here in a second because we got some interesting stuff. So you created a couple of machines, but since it's a golf show, and then we'll talk about your other ones towards the end, because we got a sports show on after this, and they're going to probably be interested as to your Sammy Sosa story. But this machine is a workout machine strictly designed for golf.
Yeah.
On your golf swing.
Yeah.
You've had PGA players use this machine and increase their drives by 30 to 40 yards, you're saying?
Minimally.
Right.
Yeah. So that all came about, that was an accident too. Everything that I've done has been an accident. I have never had a plan.
No.
There was never a plan A. I couldn't spell the word plan. So I'm in LA. I played my 1 year minor league ball, and now I'm starting to play golf more. And I started taking some lessons, and I realized the golf instructors knew what I should be doing. They didn't have a clue how to teach me how to do it. They could play.
Right.
They couldn't teach me. And I just thought I was a bad student. That's kind of the concept they want you to have. They want you to think you're bad. That's not the way it works. So Albert says, okay, this isn't working. Let's design something that will not allow you to use your baseball swing to hit the golf ball, because that's what my swing. You've seen that swing.
You're right. Yeah, you play baseball.
I play baseball. So when you learn a skill like baseball when you're a teenager, that stays with you forever. And when you start to pick up golf later in life, your brain says, "Oh, we're going to use this information over here." So that's why it's using your baseball swing stuff. It didn't know. So I said, I got to get rid of the baseball swing, and I need to start swinging like a PGA touring pro. So I built this first machine, and initially it was called the Golf Swing Emulator. And the very first one I built it in July the 3rd, 1989. July the 4th, I'm on a plane to Mazatlan, Mexico. I'm going down there to write a screenplay. I was so excited about making this machine. Once I got to Mexico, I started designing other stuff, baseball, batting. So I designed this machine. It was very crude. It was 7 feet tall. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was making weightlifting equipment at the time. I decided, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. This is where I'm going to focus my energy. So I made the golf machine. The first person to use it other than me was Ernie Banks. Ernie was living in Los Angeles at this time. And I called Ernie up and said, Ernie, come over here. I got something I got to show you. So I've known Ernie since I was a teenager. And he comes over. He gets on the machine. He does 2 sets on the machine. The next day, he wins a golf tournament. I became Ernie's best friend.
Yeah, my best friend. If that happens.
So that's kind of how it got started. And very early on, someone I took it to a teaching pro in Los Angeles. He says, hey, in a month, there's going to be a PGA show for golf instructors only, not the regular PGA trade show, but it's for golfers only. You need to bring this to that show. I take it to that show. I go to the bathroom and come back, and there's a guy on the machine, and he's using it better than I can. And he's never seen the machine before. And he's using it, and I said, hey, how are you? He says, good. I said, what do you think? He said, I'm afraid you've got something here. And he said it under his breath, and I didn't know why he did that. And I said, wait a minute. You're Peter Costas. Yeah, this Peter Costas is on my machine.
Wow.
So long story short, Peter's bought 4 of these machines. And we've been in touch ever since 1989. He's the only person who's ever been on the machine and used it better than me. And so I made this machine. In 1996, I had a training facility in Phoenix. I had golf, batting, tennis, anything you could throw, swing, or kick, I had a machine for. A PGA golfer comes in the store. Now, this is 96. This is a few years after I'd already helped Sosa and Todd with the batting machine. So I said, hey, I'm not familiar with golfers. Tell me your story. He said, well, I haven't been playing a lot of golf lately. I said, let's videotape your swing. Let's see how that looks. Videotaped the swing, and he says, oh, my God, I have no hip rotation. So if you're not using your hips, it's all arms, you're not hitting the ball as far or as accurate as you can.
Right.
I said, okay, something's off. Something happened here. Injury, surgery? He said, both. I broke my wrist in a motorcycle accident. I'm rehabbing. I'm just trying to get back into the game. The U.S. Open is coming up in 3 months, and I don't have the stats to get in that. I'm going to have to play a qualifying round just to get into that. And I've got to see if I can rehab my body. I said, all right, let's get on this machine. Put him on the machine. He can't use it. I said, Steve, you got to start thinking about this. Your brain has scrambled your motor skills because of this surgery. Not the injury, but the surgery itself. So people don't realize that when you have surgery, it will mess with your motor skills when it comes to sports. It won't interfere with you walking and running, but it will mess with this stuff. I said, we've got to teach your body how to swing the golf club. He couldn't use a machine. I said, listen, you've got to feel what you normally would feel if you do it. You've never had to think about this before, but now you got to think about it. Get your hips, and it finally says, oh, there it is, there. So he could feel. This machine makes you feel stuff that nobody can talk into your body. So when you can feel stuff, you're bypassing a whole bunch of learning issues. I said, look, I've already helped out a whole bunch of Major League ball players, baseball players. I'm going to let you use this for free because I want to see how this affects you. You're on a whole different level. Most of my clients are amateurs. So he comes in twice a week. The workout takes 5 minutes a day. Comes in twice a week for 3 months. And I asked him in the beginning, I said, can you hit the ball 350? He's tall, he's 6'4". He says, yeah. I said, okay. So because there's no golf course where you're going to hit a ball 400 yards straight, here's what we can do with that extra strength that will help you even better. Instead of trying to hit the ball 350, I'm going to make you strong enough to hit the ball 400 yards. But instead of trying to do that, you're going to be able to back off your swing about 10 miles an hour and still hit it 350. How will that help you? He says, accuracy. Yes. I said, so let's go for that. We're going to slow your swing down. You're still going to hit the ball 350, but you're going to be able to hit it more accurately. So U.S. Open comes up. He had to play a qualifying round to get in it, and then he won the 96 U.S. Open.
And that was actually Steve Jones.
That was Steve Jones, yeah. And that had only happened twice in the history of the PGA.
Right.
And so after that, I've got some street cred now.
Yeah.
I decide, now this is how crazy I am. I'm not afraid to call anybody or approach anybody. I call the Golf Channel up.
Ooh.
I said, hey, I've just done this with Steve Jones. And I sent the guy a video of my a machine. I said, you want to have this on a? Yeah, sure. Come on down. So this producer invited me down to Orlando to the studio. Now, Arnold Palmer is one of the investors in the Golf Channel. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So this was a very modern studio. There are no cameramen on the floor. The cameras are all automated. It's the first time this is actually done in '96. So I show up in Orlando, and the receptionist says, Ken, the guy that invited you here is on vacation. I said, yeah, well, that's too bad. This is going to happen. And she said, well, I said, hey, no, you don't get, this is going to happen. I basically threatened this woman. And there was nobody there that day but Brian Hammond. He comes out of the makeup chair. He's still got, he said, Ken, I said, Brian, just ask me what it is and I'll take it from there.
Yeah.
So I was on the Golf Channel with this machine. I didn't have the brains to remember. I'm winging it. I'm literally winging it. And so if you go on my YouTube channel and type in Steve Jones and Ken Hunley, the Golf Channel has its own video.
Right.
So go on my YouTube channel, kenhunley.com, and it's spelled Kenn, and you'll see the Golf Channel thing. Well, then things start taking off. And before this, probably in '91, I got a contract in Japan to sell machines there.
Ooh.
Yes. And it was an accident too. And it had to do with someone I slept with.
Everything's an accident for Ken Hundley.
I mean, everything, my whole life's an accident. So this girl sees a flyer that I have beside the bed. She says, "Can I show this to my boss?" I said, "Yeah." Japanese attorney. He's my attorney. He's my Japanese attorney. I'm dating his assistant. And he comes over to see the machine. He says, "I want to bring some guys over to see this." I said, "Okay, sure." So I'm thinking he's bringing some guys over from Beverly Hills because that's where his office is. He brings the CEOs from 3 Japanese companies over from Japan. Wow, okay. The first 2 said, "No, we're not doing this." The third one was a good friend of his. This was an industrial. This guy makes $250 million a year. He's got a big factory in Japan, automated. Everything's automated. Robots making stuff. And this is in '91. They are so far ahead of us, technological. The Japanese look at us like we look at the Russians.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that works. So, long story short, I sold 2 boxcars of machines in Japan in 1991.
And they love golf.
Oh, and they love baseball. And the baseball stuff over there, baseball in Japan is like basketball in Kentucky.
Right.
It's the religion. The high school team has 75 players on it, so this guy is romancing me for a whole week, wanting to do business with me, and I didn't want to do business with this Japanese guy because he's not in my business. He's got tons of money. And I knew instinctively, you've got more potential to screw me up than you do to help me.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. You're eager about this, and you're probably going to want to do things your way. So I just said no. And finally, the patent attorney from Beverly Hills says, "Listen, let's do this. I'm going to get you an option. You're going to make up 2 golf, 2 batting, and 2 throwing machines. We're going to give you $40,000. You're going to take these to Japan, and you're going to show them. And then they're going to take 3 months to do their marketing research." I said, "Great. That's good because nobody's been talking about a business plan yet. I'm not the brightest guy on the planet, but I knew you." And here's a guy who makes $250 million. You would think he's got a business plan. No, their customer doing their thing, not this. He wanted to use my equipment for a contract he had in 1996, which is 5 years later. This is how they do stuff in Japan. They're investing money now to make money 5 years later. He's got a contract to sell buttons and souvenirs and stuff. He wants to use my equipment to get a foothold in the exercise equipment industry. And so fly to Japan on the train ride between Tokyo and Matsumoto, which is where this guy was. The liaison says, "Okay, we're going to exercise our right to buy machines from you." And I thought, oh no, I screwed this up. I didn't force it to make that market research. I gave them the option of doing it.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, just don't worry. You know what? Just don't worry about this. You're not going to do anything here. You're gonna drink some sushi. You're gonna drink a lot of sake and eat some sushi. You'll play some golf. Just have a good vacation. So I'm there, and we every night we're out partying. We're going to a different bar every hour from 6 o'clock to midnight. And this guy is spending a lot. He's throwing a lot of money at me. So after the eighth day, he says, "Okay, time to negotiate." I said, "Oh no, that boat sailed." So I don't want to do business with this guy. So I'm going to give him a price of, if you're crazy enough to do this, I'll do it. But this is not what I want to do. And I said, "Look, I know you can make my stuff in the corner of this factory's got 600 employees. I know you can make my stuff there. I'm going to let you make all the stainless steel stuff. I'm going to give you my contacts in China for all the shelf parts, the pulleys, the bolts, and all that other stuff. I'm going to send you a stripped down version of this machine and let you make some of the stuff here." And I tried to raise the price up to the point where he'd say no. And he goes, "Oh," which means, "Oh shit," Japanese.
We're going to be, this is our music. So, Ken, we're going to go on a commercial break for a few minutes here. And when we get back, we're going to let everybody listen to some videos. A little bit later, answer some phone calls that want to come in. And we'll do the second half of Tee It Up with David Tees. All right, we'll be right back, folks.
weekend with a little flair. It's Dino's Night Out, every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM. Dino brings you the best of the Fox Valley's entertainment scene. Live music, local artists, street festivals, great eats, and the personalities behind them. If it's happening, Dino's talking about it. And bringing the spotlight is none other than the legendary Arcada Theater, located at 105 East Main Street in St. Charles. Catch dinner, drinks, and a show, all under one historic roof. So whether you're making plans or just love to know what's hot, make it a date with Dino's Night Out, Fridays, 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM, or stream it live at WRMN1410.com. Dino's Night Out, powered by the Arcada Theater, where Fox Valley comes to play.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has 2 convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400. Now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
Firearms are the #1 cause of death among kids, but we know that healthcare workers can make a huge difference. This is why prevention is absolutely critical. It starts with listening to the community, leaning in on those conversations to better inform what is the approach that you want to take. You are the champions for change. You can be the catalyst for integrating firearm injury prevention strategies into your practice and really benefiting your community. Let's agree to agree that we all have a role to play in ending this crisis.
I know we're at an at-will state, but for making a comment, like, hey, your hair looks good. And then I got a call from HR saying, hey, you know what, you're under investigation. Do I have any recourse?
Were you fired?
No, not yet.
The problem, Eddie, is they can fire you for any reason they want. They literally can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm a little bored this morning. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire Eddie for no reason. Yep, he can do that. Yeah, that's California. Yep, welcome.
Handle on the Law. If you're injured and need a lawyer, go to handleonthelaw.com.
When our nation calls, patriots answer. The U.S. Volunteers Joint Service Command stands ready, honoring our fallen heroes through military funeral honors and serving communities during natural disasters and emergencies. If you're 18 or older, you can serve close to home with free training and just 1 Saturday a month. Prior service with honorable discharges are welcome. View our website today at usvjsc.org. We are patriots. We are always ready. We are U.S. Volunteers, and we want you to join us.
Clutter happens, but junk doesn't have to weigh you down. At the Junk Luggers, we're your full-service junk removal and hauling pros, tackling everything from single-item pickups to major cleanouts. We handle the heavy lifting, and with our commitment to the green way, we rehome and recycle to keep your unwanted items out of landfills. So, whether you're clearing out the garage, downsizing, or saying goodbye to old furniture, we make the process eco-friendly and easy. Call 1-800-LUG-JUNK or visit junkluggers.com today. Let's save your space and the planet together.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Tee It Up with David Tees here on Saturday morning on WRMN Radio 1410 AM. We're here live in the studio with my good friend Ken Hudley. We're going to be talking about the golf training machine. It's the Long Ball Trainer here. His website, if you want to go to it while we're going to be loading up some videos and showing you guys what this is about. Yes, go get on YouTube and watch this. This is longballtrainer.com, and it's a beautiful picture of the website of a golf course on there. I just love this picture. Very, very beautiful. gets me itchy to go play golf because we're getting close, Ken. So what we got here is a little bit. We're going to play the first video, some part of it. How long is that first video?
It's probably 7 minutes.
Yeah, so we're going to play a little bit of it.
A few minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes of it, and then we'll see what we got here. So let me get this ready to pull up here, and I will switch it over. And here we go.
Works on your muscles.
So I built this machine to give me a better golf swing. It did things I never thought it could possibly do. This machine took me from an 18 handicap down to a 3.3, and I had an average drive of 304 yards when I was 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how good the machine is. That's not me. I don't have any natural talents when it comes to that kind of stuff. That's
right.
The average golfer, if they use this 3 days a week for 5 minutes a day, they'll pick up 40 yards in 2 months, minimally. And this is not you using extra energy. This is using the same amount of energy, but hitting the ball 40 yards farther.
Right. And in this, you got the machine. I mean, if you're watching a video, and I'm going to see if I can get people back to watching. I mean, yeah, here we go. I'm going to see if I can get that onto there. You get a little bit of a video of, let's back up just a touch, of how you work out swinging. The weight's going up and down.
So at the very top of the machine, the resistance at the top of the machine is 4 times more than it is at the bottom.
Right.
So it eliminates the possibility of casting or coming over the top. There are about 20 different power leaks that people who start to play golf later in life end up having in their swing, and this eliminates all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So this basically, it took me probably a couple of years of experience with pro athletes before I realized I don't really know how this machine works. I need to figure out how this works because this is not normal.
Right.
I know this has something to do with the head more so than the body because I'm not making my muscles bigger. So I started doing research. I would go to the ASU Science Library and learn. I had to study neurology. I had to learn how the brain works, how the brain and the body and the impulses coming from the brain to your muscles, how all that worked. And after I did all of that, Albert steps in and says, okay, you need to start paying attention to what you've experienced with people. What have you noticed about when people learn things and when they don't? And so what Albert helped me figure out is if you start playing golf or start swinging a golf club when you're 5 years old, you have the potential to be a professional golfer. There's a window of opportunity for learning your sports motor skills, and that window is open from the time you're born until your bones stop growing. Can we switch this back to me for the time being?
Shoot. Yeah, sorry about that. I can do that really quickly. Let me pause this. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to have a little bit of the viewers to see how the swinging goes onto this, to give them a concept of what this looks like and why we're talking about this.
So it's, as you can see, I have weights on this. This is not a weightlifting machine. This is the neuromuscular strength trainer. And the difference is weightlifting machines are designed to make one muscle. You work on one muscle, you have to tear that fiber to make it bigger in order to get stronger. Mine does the opposite. Mine is going to make you use all of the muscles. There's probably 80 muscles used in the golf swing from here down to impact. So my machine only works from the top of the swing down to impact. It will not let you cast. It will not allow you to come over the top. If you're not making the same move as a professional golfer, it doesn't go anywhere. So you can't train badly on this without and it's difficult.
Right.
If you're not doing it right, it's hard to use. If you're not using your lower body, like Steve Jones had a problem with, it's a lot more difficult to use. So when you're doing it, it's effortless. That's when you do it. When you're doing it and it's effortless, it means you're doing it right. If you're struggling with it, it's because your brain's trying to use your arms more. So this machine is the missing link between what a good golf instructor knows and what he can get someone who didn't play golf as a teenager to learn.
Right.
So if you give a 10-year-old child in Elgin, a 10-year-old girl in Elgin, a set of golf clubs, let her play twice a week till she's 18, she could be a scratch golfer without any instruction whatsoever. Your learning is done through your own body and your own brain. So when all of us start to play golf, we all look like girls. We're uncoordinated. You do this enough. So this is what Albert taught me. You do this enough, the brain will kick in something I call a muscle assignment synthesizer. It'll start taking this and turn it into that without any instruction whatsoever. So your brain is your sports instructor when you're a child. You may be getting some instruction from an outside source like a coach or something, but all the learning's done from the inside when you're a child. And when your bones stop growing, you stop learning stuff. So you got to get this done before you're 22. That's about the time that your body stops growing. If someone becomes a scratch golfer by the time they're 21 years old, they can stop for 2 decades. When they pick the golf club back up, they'll start off right where they left off. I didn't start playing golf till I was almost 30. And I built this because the golf instructors couldn't help me. I was 38 at this time. Randy gave me a set of clubs when I was 30. He's very competitive.
Yes, I know he is.
He gives me a set of Nicklaus VIPs. And you don't do that to a beginner, because that's not the kind of clubs that can help you. I couldn't play him. He knew it, and I had to buy a set of other clubs so I could actually learn to play golf. But so your brain is helping you to learn this stuff. When you're 38 years old, your brain's not helping you anymore. No. When I get on this machine, it turns my learning switch back on at the level I was at when I was 12. So you're able to learn the golf swing again using the same components of your own brain to do it, not from an outside instructor. They can't do what this machine does. I can't teach you. I can't help you the way this machine helps you. So this machine took me from an 18 handicap down to a 3.3, gave me an average drive of 304 yards when I was 50 years old.
Nice.
And I'm not an exception. I have no exceptional skills when it comes to this guy. That's the average stuff. Some guys have picked up 75 yards the first time they used it. That is the exception.
Right.
Those guys are out there. So until you get on this machine, there's a range of what you're going to get as far as distance here. It's usually between 40 and 75 yards. Very few people will be able to add 75 yards to the swing. Most people will get 40 or 50 yards.
Right.
If you're a real stubborn individual, this will take longer.
That'd be me.
So you have to let the machine take over your body and say, no, I'm going to just let this. And it will do all the work for you. It reprograms your brain. So when you're swinging a golf club, you're asking your brain to give all your golf muscles enough electricity to swing that club. Doesn't make any difference how hard you swing it. From your brain's perspective, the amount of electricity that's needed to go to those muscles, that's a fixed number. When you get on my machine with 40 pounds, and I can pull this 40 pounds down with 2 fingers, by the way, on this machine. When you get on this machine with some weight, your brain is being forced to give the muscles a lot more electricity. So when you're swinging a club, you're asking for the electricity. When you're on the machine, you're demanding it.
Okay.
So your brain has that capacity and even more. When I was hitting the ball 304 yards, I was using 100 pounds on this machine. I was going at it. I'd go to a driving range and hit a large bucket of golf balls with my driver. The fence would be 250, it would be 100 feet high, and I'm hitting the balls over that fence. So that's what this has the potential to do for you. Machines are pricey. They're 10 grand. One of the reasons I can't make it here in Chicago is because this manufacturing here is not set up for that.
Right.
They want to make 1,000 of one different things. There's 15 different assemblies in this golf machine. None of the factories are set up here to do it. Some of the stuff on my machine has to be made on CNC machines. It literally is NASA level. What's the word for it? Technology. You know what a tolerance is, right?
Yeah.
Tolerance is how much space you have to screw something up.
Right.
So in my blueprints, one component has, and this is measured in thousandths of an inch. One of my components has a tolerance of -0 plus 2/1000. 2/1000 is twice the thickness of one of your hairs. So if this is off that much, the machine doesn't work in it. It will come apart eventually. So it's most guys when they see this, say, nope, not going there. I have to go to multiple machine shops to get my machine made.
Now, does this machine, I mean, a lot of people, does this machine also, I know it does a lot of work, but does it also is it designed to create tempo?
Oh, yeah. So it changes everything you do.
Right.
So tempo is that's kind of another thing. There's motor memory. There's position memory. In other words, when you're a kid, your brain is learning the swing from positions. A good golf instructor will put you in this position here. Well, if you hold that long enough, the brain will look at that and say, hey, okay, so that's where he wants to be. Let's teach his body how to get there. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
So it's learning not just from motor memory, but also position memory. Also this position down here. So if you start down here and you start going back really slowly like this, your brain will start learning this swing just because it's Googling you. It's saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, you want us to learn this? All right, we're going to do that. And there are ways to do this without using the machine. I've got a whole different program for golfers who want to learn to play the golf game without having taken lessons and stuff. And that's called the Long Game Program. So that's 40 videos on how you can learn a good golf swing in your home without ever hitting a golf ball. So I can give somebody this program, if they use this for 6 months only, they'll come out with a swing that looks like they've been playing their whole lives. That doesn't mean they can play golf. It just means they're going to have a good swing.
Right.
So there are a lot of different ways you can learn this stuff. That's one way. The machine is the fastest way. It will slow your swing down. This is the speed that you use the machine. You don't do this rapidly. You're doing this intentionally slowly because you want to give the brain time to learn what you're doing. And if your sequence isn't right, you lose power. Sequence is the same concept of shifting gears in an automobile. A lot of golfers are not going, they're starting in third gear.
Right.
They're using their arms and shoulders. This is first gear down here. Second gear is your weight shift. Third gear is your back shoulder going down, your front shoulder going up. Fourth gear, you straighten out your back arm. Fifth gear, straighten out your back leg. If you get this out of whack, if you do these things out of sequence, you lose power.
Right.
Also, if you're missing the club face, if you're missing the ball in the club face by 1/8 of an inch, you lose power there too. So the best swing you're going to have is one that it's not coming out of your shoes. It's one that you can swing with not a lot of effort and still hit the sweet spot. And this machine is going to help you find that, and it will program your body to learn this stuff. Now, if you start to play golf later in life, this does not stay with you. When you stop playing golf, do you lose some game?
Oh, yeah.
You have to kind of almost like relearn it again. All right, so I've been doing this work on this machine for such a long time now. I don't need to do that. It's taken a lifetime to finally get to the point where I don't lose anything when I go out to play golf.
Right.
That's pretty cool. So golf instructors hate this because it takes money out of their pocket. I took this to the PGA teaching facility in Port St. Lucie. Have you ever been down there?
No.
You know about this, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I go to the head guy who's teaching. I said, where's your focus on teaching? He says, it's on juniors. I said, well, they don't need your help. You're taking credit for stuff they can do on their own. What are you doing for the guys like me who start to play golf later in life? We're spending all the money that's made in the golf industry. The kids aren't doing it.
Right.
He was dead silent. I said, look, I've got this machine. It's going to help your golf instructors. I'm giving him this spiel, how this is going to help his golf instructors to teach people this golf swing much faster. And all of a sudden, I see him get this Cheshire cat smile on his face. I said, oh, wait a minute. You don't want your instructors to teach people to do this faster. You want to just keep giving them. I said, never mind. So the whole PGA concept is, do you know what it takes to get your teaching certificate in the PGA?
No.
You play 2 rounds of golf in one day. If you average 76 over those 2 rounds, you are a PGA golf instructor.
Wow.
And they're going to sell you as an expert. They don't give you any education about anything. Nothing about neurology, nothing about biomechanics, nothing about biology, nothing about all of that stuff is your brain is doing that for you when it's teaching you. These guys are they want to just, it's like a pharmacy. They don't want to cure you, they want to treat you. They make more money selling you treatment pills than that. So golf instructors, this is the cure.
Doesn't it make sense to them to have that machine in there?
They're not that intelligent. They create their own programs, and they see this as something that takes away from. They're not smart enough to realize this could make me a lot of money.
It could make them a lot of money.
It could. And Peter Costas has had 4 of these machines. He's only let one person use it.
Yeah.
And that's Casey, the PGA golfer, Paul Casey.
This is mind blowing because Like with the batting machine, we'll talk about that. We got a little time to talk about that. But with this machine, if the PGA training facility has this, you slowly work them to get to the point to start using this machine so you can still make money. But once you get people using this machine and they start driving the ball farther and farther, and then their friends are like, wow, how did you learn to do that? At the PGA training facility. And then next thing you know, they're knocking on the door wanting to sign up. It's a money-making system, but they're afraid that people will learn it too fast.
No, they don't want to take away from their income.
You're right. But it brings you more customers in.
They're not that intelligent. I'm
no, right.
And you know what? So after I did the thing on the Golf Channel, a guy from Chicago calls me up. He saw the thing on the Golf Channel. He says, Ken, do you have a training program too? I said, yes, I do. He said, okay, I'm coming down there. I'm going to buy the machine. I'm going to take. So he comes to Arizona. I videotaped 4 hours of my lesson program. He's got it on tape. I said, look, this is a year's worth of stuff, so don't expect to get this overnight. But with this program, you can go at this at your own speed. Mm-hmm. 6 months later, his best friend calls me up. Is this Ken Hundley? I said, well, I don't know. You don't sound too happy. What can I do for you? Well, you know Bob Sloan? Yeah, how's Bob? Bob's a freaking club champion. I said, oh, Bob didn't tell you about his machine, did he? He says, that son of a... I said, so how did you find out about it? He says, well, I showed up at his house about a half an hour. I play golf with him every weekend. We kept asking, what are you doing? He says, I'm taking yoga. He's not giving it up. People don't give it up. I said, he says, I showed up at his house about a half an hour early. His front door was locked. I go around to the back of the house. I see him in his basement working out on this machine, and I'm banging on the window. He says, yoga, my butt. Everybody in that group buys a machine. And so that's what's happened. I mean,
you figure universities would want this machine for their college teams.
You know what? I just tried to give a baseball machine away to a high school. They wouldn't even take it for free.
Wow.
The excuse, we didn't even look at it. Excuse, we don't have any room for it. The reality is, this machine is not user-friendly. You can't put it somewhere and people walk up and use it. Someone's got to train you on it. That's the drawback.
Yeah.
This takes the benefits are incredible. I've made a handful of Major League Baseball players wealthy and famous with this technology. And even after that happened, the owners of the team wanted to get rid of the machine because it was costing them too much money.
And which baseball player was that? You want to drop a name here?
Well, the first guy, so this is how this happened. I was in Phoenix, and I knew that the manager for the Cubs in '93, he had weightlifting machines around his house. Uh-huh. I knew he was going to like this. I said, Randy, get me in touch with this. And Randy wouldn't do it. Randy finally says, Dago, he's talking to Santo. Dago, will you introduce Ken to Lefevre? I said, yeah, no problem. I asked my brother, I said, that wasn't so hard, was it? He didn't want to. My brother was not trying to help me with this. He's so competitive. He does not want me to be successful with it.
I know how competitive your brother is.
Yeah. So I call up Jim Lefevre. He comes over. He says, "Oh yeah, I got to have this machine." He buys it, takes it to Chicago. End of the season, he comes back to my office. He says, "I want to help you sell this machine." And he's in my office with George Will, the political columnist. Mm-hmm. George Will wanted to be the commissioner of baseball. And that's why he's hanging out with Lefevre. Mm-hmm. And he's a brilliant person. He would make a good commissioner, by the way. So he says, Jim Lefevre says, I want to help you sell this machine. I said, how'd you do with it? He said, I got 2 guys to use it only. I said, okay. He says, Rick Wilkins went from 7 home runs last year to 30 home runs this year. That broke a whole bunch of records. Mm-hmm. This new kid named Sosa goes from 8 home runs the year before to 33 using this machine. I'm thinking, I'm in. No, that's not how it worked. The Cubs did not like that because Sammy was able to renegotiate his contract. In '92, he made $800,000. Because of using this machine, now he's making $6 million a year. Mm-hmm. Front office does not like those surprises. What did they do? They fired Lefevre, even though this was the first winning season in the '90s for the Cubs, and they gave the machine away. Sammy, somewhere along the line, bought a machine because someone told me that was in Florida, said, hey, my dad's best friend was just in Sammy's house in Miami. Your machine is in his house in Miami. So he may have bought the machine the Cubs gave away.
Right.
But that's just how, so that's people don't really, and I asked Ernest, I said, what's the deal with that? Ernest says, this is not about this is about managing money.
Right.
You got to remember, somebody automatically says, hey, You got to come up with $6 million this year that you didn't have last year. That makes you have to shuffle a whole lot of stuff. It's like going to someone and trying to extort. I don't have $6 million. I've got to do some work to get a hold of $6 million. Well, the owners of the ball teams have to do the same thing.
Right.
They don't like those surprises. They want you to go from 8 to 10 to 12. That's a range they have money to cover.
Move up.
Yeah, and this has happened with the Cubs. It's happened with the Mets. Todd did the same thing. He used it one year in '96 and broke the record for most homers hit by a catcher. Mets gave the machine away. Everybody's giving it away. So Ernie Banks kind of set the record straight. And I hate to say this, but the owners are not trying to get the best ball players. They're trying to manage the money. They are numbers guys. They don't care about. They don't make money from ticket receipts.
Right.
They make their money from TV revenue now.
Right. Yeah.
And when the Dodgers finally got that $3 billion contract in LA, this happened 20 years ago, that's when it changed all the media for all the Major League Baseball teams. Now, when you go in LA, you can't watch a Dodger game on local TV station. You can't do it in Chicago anymore.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So that's what changed all of that. The money comes from that TV revenue. So one year I told Ernie, I said, Ernie, I want to take this to the winter meetings. The winter meetings where all the owners get together and buy all the stuff that's sold in the stadium. It's in Orlando. And Ernie says, don't waste your time. I said, Ernie, what's the deal? Why do the Cubs hate me so much? He says, the Cubs have 125 million reasons to hate you, and they're all in Sosa's pocket.
Yep.
He says, you don't realize this. If Sammy hadn't used your machine, he might be back in the Dominican shining shoes.
Yeah.
This changed the whole dynamic. But it's a business thing. They're not trying to get people to do what Sosa did. They don't like that. They'd rather that you be on steroids because they know you're going to eventually cycle out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's going to shorten your career. So even if you're using steroids, this stuff is going to take you beyond where the steroids.
And then later on, he takes steroids allegedly.
So that 93, he hit 33 homers. 94, he didn't have the machine. He goes down to 25 home runs. 95, he shows up in spring training weighing 40 more pounds.
Yeah.
Now that happens, but it usually happens in when you're in minor leagues. Randy gained 30 pounds after his first minor league year. Because he goes to spring training and realizes, holy crap, I'm too small. And so that does happen. But no, he was juiced. He was absolutely juiced. Didn't make any difference. People don't realize steroids don't help you find the sweet spot on the bat.
Right, no.
My equipment does help you do that for the golf and for the batting stuff. So steroids are going to make your muscles stronger, but if you can't find the sweet spot on the bat, it's not going to help you like this does.
Right.
So this is going to give you some tools that you can't get.
Well, that's our music, and our show is over with. And I really appreciate you coming in and talking about this machine. And if you guys want to take this down, we're going to give you two things. This is actually, you can go to the website, which has these videos on there, called longballtrainer.com. And Ken, you want to tell them your website, your email address, so they could get a hold of you if anybody's interested?
My email is ken@longballtrainer.com.
Ken@longballtrainer.com, but that's with two N's.
Yes, Ken with two N's, yeah.
Ken
and
with
you
two
also
N's.
see some videos on YouTube on my channel. Just using my name.
So go to them to see that. Ken Husky, I know you're listening. It's not over with for you for golf. You get on this machine. I know you're up there in age just like me. We're both getting older. This machine might make us better. So I'm going to be joining you this week at your house to check this machine out. And we'll get together, and I'll bring some more in here, and we'll talk about it.
Excellent. Thanks.
Good luck with everything, Ken.
All right.
Looking to buy or sell a home in Chicagoland? Need trusted legal help with real estate, evictions, or estate planning? Turn to Guthrie & Brady, the happy lawyers serving the greater Chicago area since 1965. With over 50 years of experience, they handle titles and deeds, foreclosures, landlord-tenant issues, wills, trusts, and more. Appointments available evenings or weekends at their Roselle office or right in your home. Call Guthrie & Brady now at 847-524-1215. That's 847-524-1215. Or visit gnblegal.com. Guthrie & Brady, personal, professional, affordable legal services for all of Chicagoland. The happy lawyers since 1965. That's gnblegal.com. Or 847-524-1215. Guthrie & Brady, trusted legal help made easy, fast, affordable, and experienced. Call today.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We